We've got some massive shifts happening in the Miami-Dade real estate market lately, and we're talking about it in this video. Inventory is down, sales are up, median prices are up at a time when interest rates are continuing to increase into the stratosphere. I can hardly believe it myself, and I spend my life poring over this data for you guys so that you can be the most informed consumers in the land to make the best decisions for yourself and for your family. Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, your Miami-Dade real estate agent. And one of the big changes that we have this week is we've officially upped the median sale price for what it takes to be considered a luxury home in Miami-Dade from 1.5 million to 1.8 million because prices have gone up so much, and this represents the top 10% of sales, okay? So in this video, we're looking at the bottom 90% of sales, the quote-unquote normal market of single-family homes in Miami-Dade. Now, all of this is normal, relatively speaking, for this to adjust over time as the median sale price continues to absolutely rocket into the stratosphere here in Miami-Dade. But we do this to look at the two markets, the normal and then the non-luxury market, separately because they are so totally different. And especially when you have tons of sales in the 10s, 20s, 30 millions of dollars. Even there was one for $79 million in the last month for single family homes. So the buyers and sellers of these different categories have different considerations, different financial needs, different capacities. In order to give you guys a better understanding of each of the markets, I provide you with the extra and more accurate context so that you can be better equipped to traverse this absolutely insane market, okay? So smash the like button if you appreciate that, okay? And we're gonna jump on into the data right now. So both active listings and new listings declined from February to March, as you can see in this graph right here. Number of active listings came in at 3,356, okay? And that's down 5.8% month over month. That's that green line going down right there. That's down 5.8% from 3,561, okay? So year over year, that's actually up, however, by 117 additional units or 3.6%, okay? So comparing it to back here in March, when we were pretty much at an almost all-time low of inventory. Hopefully we're not headed back down there. But compared to March of 2019, back over here, where things looked, way nicer as far as inventory goes, before the old pandemaroo, when there was 7,050 active listings, we are currently down 52.4% from that point, okay? Now wait till a little bit later in the video when you hear how much we're up median sale price wise, okay? So stay tuned for that. Now, new listings, that's our blue line there. We came in at 1,389 single family home listings in the non-luxury range, and that's down 5.3% month over month. So also down from 1,467. Now, year over year, it's also up, similar to our active inventory, but it's only up by 108 units from 1,281 or 8.4%, okay? Now, compared to 2019 over here, again, not as much of a crazy difference, but it's a 630 unit decrease from 2019 for a 31.2% decrease overall, okay? So not seeing as much new inventory coming on the market as we were pre-pandemic, but that's pretty much because, there's no inventory for sellers to buy once they sell, and then they're gonna also have to take on a much higher interest rate as well. They call that the golden handcuffs, okay? So when you have such a low interest rate in your current property, and then interest rates now are like 7.3% for the 30-year conventional mortgage, they just went up the other day, we see really understandably why sellers don't wanna sell. We see why those golden handcuffs are so comfy. Now, I can't stress this enough. We need more listings, especially if people want to see prices correct or at least regulate a little bit and stop going up, which is what we're going to look at here in a second. But, if you're thinking about selling, reach out to me and we can talk about the pros and the cons and figure out if it makes sense for you to sell. Okay. Now, average days on market is our next graph here we're going to look at. And that's the green line is the average days on market. And then closed price to original price ratio, that's the blue line. So average days on market are down and closed price to original price ratio is significantly up since last month, suggesting that the market is already heating up as we head into the spring market with low inventory, okay? So that's pretty wild to see how much things are heating up, even in anticipation of that spring market. Now, average days on market came in at 60. It was down from 68 days on market last month. That's an 11.8% speed up, so to speak, in the market. And the last March that we had was 66 days on market, okay? So if you see that green line, last March of 2023 had a little bit more days on market than we have now. So we're even hotter of a market than we were last year. People were still kind of getting accustomed to higher interest rates back then. I think now people are like, okay, interest rates aren't going down anytime soon, so we might as well do what we got to do, okay? Thus, 6 days quicker than it was last year. Now, closed price to original price ratio is a percentage expressing the ratio difference between what a property was listed for versus what it ended up selling for. What does that mean? Well, if it was listed for $1 million and it sold for $900,000, that's a 90% closed price to original price ratio, okay? They got 90% of what they were asking for. Okay, so closed price to original price ratio for March came in at 97.1%. That's actually up 0.3% month over month. Year over year, it's up 1.0% from 96.1, meaning that sellers are getting closer to their asking price. Okay, the market is heating up. Now, prices went up again this month, as well as sales, though median sale price only increased by about $400. And that's this graph that we're going to be looking at here. So not a huge increase, but it is still trending up overall. And last month there was an even bigger increase. But however, median sale price in the non-luxury range, 1.8 million and below. Crazy to think that you can buy a $1.8 million house and it not necessarily be considered a luxury home in Miami-Dade. So in the $1.8 million range and below, the median sale price came in at $615,400. That's up, again, $400 from last month when it was obviously $615,000. And that's a 0.07% increase, barely even registers, but it is an increase. So, it's definitely negligible, but it is trending still up. Now, year over year from last March, it was $550,000 median sale price. You're looking at a $65,400 increase in 1 year, or 11.9%. Okay, so single family homes in Miami-Dade last year, in a time when all over the country, single family homes and just properties in general were decreasing and depreciating, correcting, however you want to say it, single family homes in Miami-Dade appreciated 11.9%. So not a bad return on your investment, even if you bought a year ago thinking like, oh man, how much can it go up? Is now a good time to buy, etc. Well, 11.9% return on your investment would beg to say that it was a good investment. Okay, now let's look at that pre-pandemic time, that since March of 2019 time over here, when the median sale price, this hurts, was a measly $347,000, okay? $347,000. Can you imagine buying a single family home in Miami that doesn't, that's a median home in terms of like quality and everything for $347,000? So since that time, since right over here, we have seen a 77.3% increase, or $268,400, okay? That's an average of 12.89% per year of appreciation since 2019, okay? So all the time, I hear people say, oh, Jake, I'm going to wait till prices crash. The market's going to crash. It has to crash. The prices are too high. It doesn't make any sense. They don't provide any evidence. They just feel like prices are too high. So they say, I'm going to wait. Oh, next year the rates are going to come down or whatever. When are people going to stop waiting for the market to crash, and actually get their foot in the door is my question, because I know people who have been looking for a property for years now, thinking that the market was going to crash and just waiting and holding off and holding off. And now here you are, 77.3% later, and you still don't own a home. Okay. So, even if it does crash, do you think that it's going to crash more than 77% or even anywhere close to that? So really, like, ask yourselves the hard questions here, guys. Yes, I know there's tons of bears in the market. Oh, we're heading into a recession. Inflation is still up. The Fed is still increasing rates. I get it. But 77%, okay? Since 2019, that's only 5 years, okay? So, you got to ask yourself, can you even afford to get your foot in the door still? And if you can, then I would beg to differ that get your foot in the door no matter what, even if you're buying a cheap condo just to start building equity, you got to get your foot in the door. You're going to be stuck renting forever, or you're going to have to move to like the middle of a cornfield, okay? Now, the blue line here is number of sales, okay? And I'm sorry to come off so crass sometimes with my opinions, but I just hate seeing people get stuck in renting, man, because I rented for a long time and I wanted to buy forever, but I couldn't buy. And there's people who can buy, but they think that they shouldn't buy because they're waiting for prices to crash, okay? And like I said, 77% later, and here you are still paying somebody else's mortgage, paying effectively 100% interest. So anyways, I'll get off my soapbox. Now, sales jumped up pretty decently this past month from 719 in February to 907 this past month for a 188 sale increase or 26.1%, okay? That's a pretty decent increase in sales. Now, of course, January, February, usually pretty slow. March is usually when things kick off. So it's not that big of a surprise to see 26.1% increase, but it is an increase, okay? And it's showing that we're going into the spring market. Things are looking already pretty strong, okay? Even with inventory down, which normally when inventory is down, you see as a result of that, you see less sales because if you can't find anything to buy that you like, usually you don't buy anything, right? Now, year over year, we see a decrease, however, of 14.7% in sales, or 156 fewer from 1,063 last March. Okay, so if we look at that, was like shababoom, right? So much bigger of a pop up at the beginning of last spring market, right? This would have been January of 2023, February, and then March was up here, right? So interesting to note that we had a much bigger pop up last March. In terms of the number of sales than what we see this March. Maybe things are kind of going slow, and in April we'll see this sales continue to go up. I wouldn't be surprised, but interesting to see. Now, if we take off the price filter, because I do think that it's still interesting to look at things outside of the paradigm of, luxury versus the non-luxury market, because this is what you'll see if you're like looking anywhere other than my channel for the most part, because people are lazy and they don't break down the difference between the luxury and the non-luxury market because they just act like it's all the same. So if we act like it's all the same, like everybody else does, and we don't put a price filter, the median sale price came in at, up here on this green line, $650,724, which would have increased $4,224 or 0.7% month over month. Year over year, it would have been a 14.7% increase from $567,500, okay? So you can see how big of a difference it is from $615,000, when we adjust for the luxury and non-luxury range, that $615,400 that it was versus $650,724 when we pretend like there aren't two different worlds of a market out there. So that difference is, in case you were wondering, or you wanted me to do the quick math for you, is actually $35,324 or a 5.7% difference in what the median sale price appears to be. Okay, so smash the like button if you appreciate accurate statistics given with proper context, okay? And then if we also look at all sales, we see that the sales came in at 1,012, up from 792, or a 27.8% increase of 220 sales. So a little bit closer, more similar of a statistic there because, the luxury market, again, it's only 10% of the sales. So, it's not going to make as huge of a dent in terms of the raw sales. It's going to be about 10% more. Okay. Now, months of inventory is coming up next here, along with expired listings. Now, months of inventory, all that is if no new listings came on the market, how long would it take to sell the existing supply? Months of inventory dropped from 5 to 4 months of inventory, in another sign of the market heating up. Last March was 3 months of inventory. So, are we going to get down to that 3 months of inventory mark here in April, right? So you're looking at that green line there. Right over here would have been March, okay? Right there would have been March, right at 3 months of inventory. Right now we're at 4 months of inventory. So it looks like we could be headed back down there. We'll see. It was definitely, a much bigger drop from last January to last March than it was from this January to this March. But we'll see. Again, things could be moving slower due to, interest rates still being high and the economy being slower and everything. And people are feeling it. People are running out of money. People are running out of liquidity. And they may have to start tapping into their home liquidity here pretty soon in order to just maintain their lives and continue living. So next up is expired listings. Basically, all that is when the contract between the listing agent and the seller expires and the house expires and the house goes off the market. So expired listings, that's the blue line there, came in at 1,245. That's up 69 expired listings month over month, which is a 5.9% increase. Year over year, we see 176 less expireds, or 12.4% less, down from 1,421 to 1,245, okay? So that's the data, but what does it mean, okay? What are the conclusions here, whether you're a buyer, a seller, or an investor, okay? Well, if you're a buyer right now and you can qualify to buy a single family home, you're probably looking for a primary home or maybe a second home. Maybe you're living up in a cold area and you want to find a house to live in the summertime down here in Miami-Dade. So if that's the case, it's really important to run the comps and make sure that you're not overpaying for properties right now, because there are still people going on fishing expeditions left and right. I just ran comps on a house earlier this morning where they're asking $600,000 and the actual market value of the house is $565. Okay, so and also too, another house from this morning. It's more for an investor, but listed at $380, and then within a couple days they're in a multiple offer situation, and they're only showing the house to people who submit offers ahead of time that are either at or above listing price. Okay, so that's the market that we're in right now for single family homes, guys. So you need to understand that, and you need to honestly work with somebody who understands what's happening in the market and who understands the data and can use that data to your advantage. Okay, so one person specifically comes to mind. All their contact info is in the description down below, but it's really important to be on top of the data right now, because even if you do win a house, in terms of the negotiations, it might not appraise, and if you waive that appraisal contingency, which is what a lot of agents will recommend you do, not gonna pass my personal judgments on that right now, but I'll just say I'm not a fan of doing that. There's other ways around it, rather than waiving your appraisal contingency, waiving any financing contingencies. But guess what? If it doesn't appraise and you waived your financing contingency and you waived your appraisal contingency, guess who has to come to the closing with cleared funds? You, okay? So work with somebody who knows how to navigate this market, who knows creative ways to get around what a lot of sellers are just kind of colloquially asking for because they think that it's the best thing. There's other ways to do things, okay? Now, if you're a seller in this market, it's super, super important to have the best marketing and to have a responsible agent who is going to be accountable, okay? I can't tell you how many times that I'll call listing agents on behalf of buyers that I'm working with, or, people on my team that are working with buyers, and you can't even get a hold of the agents, okay? That's not going to get you the best, highest and best offer for your property. What gets you the highest and best offer for your property is when the most amount of people are able to see it, okay? So going back to that, the situation before where they're saying, hey, we're not even going to show you this house unless you submit an offer first. Well, guess what that does, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? It scares people away from even considering your home, because a lot of people don't want to submit an offer first, even though they can cancel in the due diligence period. It scares a lot of people away because they feel like, well, what if I get locked in and I don't want the house, right? So you want to employ strategies and work with an agent who's going to maximize the value and maximize the sale of your property, okay? And that's done through good marketing. It's done through good communication with all parties and accountability. And it's done through making sure the property shows well and that it's able to be shown as often as possible, okay? I get it, it's inconvenient, but guess what? You're selling your home. You're selling anyways, okay? So, you might as well, bite the bullet a little bit and make sure you can show it as much as possible and get people in there so you can get the most for your property. What's a few, days of showings of inconvenience for getting an extra $10,000 or $20,000 because you were able to create a bidding war for the property, okay? Now, if you're an investor in this market, it's a sad story, but, Miami has sort of turned into an appreciation play rather than a cap rate play. Meaning, if you're an investor, you know what I mean, but you're not really getting a crazy cap rate on rentals in Miami right now. Rentals have been super stable, rental prices. I'm going to be doing another rental video here very soon. So, make sure that you stay tuned for that. That video will be coming out. But rental prices have been super stable, okay? They're not going into the atmosphere anymore. And, if you overpay for a single family home thinking that, your pro forma is going to look better in a year, it might not, okay? So, because there's so little supply out there and the line of people who are wanting to buy a single family home for a primary residence is as long as the eye can see, it is hard to find investment plays in Miami right now. Now, you can still do some fix and flips out there. There's still, severely, we'll say severely damaged or, properties that need a ton of work. And those are still getting less people vying for them. But Miami is full of flippers. So even if that is your strategy, you need to be on point with everything and ready to go, okay? Because that's what we're finding in this market is that, things are the good ones are moving really fast, okay? So that is my advice to you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop a comment down below if you have any questions or you want me to look at any markets in specific, or you have any comments, whatever, and make sure to help me out for doing all this, work for you guys. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell, and I would personally really appreciate that. It helps me to grow the channel, and it also encourages me to keep doing these videos. Nothing's guaranteed. I could just stop doing the videos, but I like doing it, so chances are I'll probably keep doing it. But it helps to see people engaged. So would love to see that from you guys. And if you need anything in the world of Miami real estate, give me a call, shoot me a text. DM me on Instagram. All my information's in the comments, rather in the description down below. I guess I could make a comment under my own video. That'd be kind of funny. But anyways, that's it, guys. Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, your Miami real estate agent, and it's been a pleasure. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.